kindergarten rules. One of the first concepts I began instilling in our players is what I call my kindergarten rules. They aren't a written set of rules, and we don't keep an updated list, but during my character talks, I emphasize these basic rules to live by. I call them kindergarten rules because they are things we were all taught in kindergarten. Say, yes, sir, and no, sir. Yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am. Remove your hat when indoors. Push in your chair when you leave a desk or a table. Clean up your mess when you finish your meal in the cafeteria. Then, take your tray to the proper place. Offer a firm handshake when you meet someone, and look the person in the eyes. Treat people the way you want to be treated, and so on. I think it was our second or third team meeting when I introduced the kindergarten rules, telling the players, you all think you're too cool for this stuff, but we're not into cool at Auburn. This is the way we expect you to act. One day I was sitting in the cafeteria and saw two players leaving their trays on the table after they'd finished eating. It was time for a kindergarten rules lesson. I approached the players. So who do you think should take your trays back up there for you? You want the cafeteria workers to come get your stuff? The two guys knew they were busted. No, sir, they replied sheepishly, then cleaned up their messes and picked up their trays to return them. My message to them was that they didn't deserve any special treatment and that they were no different from any other students on campus. Just because they were football players on a full athletic scholarship, that didn't mean they deserved to have someone else cleaning up after them. They needed someone to help them see the error in their thinking. I certainly don't mind being that guy. Ideally, we wouldn't have to re-educate 18, 19, and 20-year-olds on the simple principles of how to act properly in public. But these guys have led a sort of charmed existence during most of their young adulthood. They can come in with a look-at-me attitude. Here's what happens. These players reach high school as good athletes, and then they start being recruited by colleges. Recruiting has changed drastically during my coaching career, and now it's almost impossible for a high school athlete to escape the recruiting process without an overinflated sense of self. With the way technology puts so much information at our fingertips, recruits coming in having read countless articles about themselves. They love hearing the press about themselves, being on television, and having coaches, media, and recruiting services calling them to talk about which school they're going to attend. They are unknowingly becoming trapped by the attention. With 5-star recruits, the top-rated and most coveted players, people all across the country are treating them like they're rock stars. Being immersed in an environment like that, they become accustomed to thinking that everything is about them. Then, when they show up at college, they get a startling wake-up call. After a coaching staff has signed its recruiting class, it now has 25 guys who have all spent the past several months being told how important they are. That's 25 guys who think it's all about them. That's a problem. This mindset also runs counter to what we teach in our program. Early in the season, I tell the players, it appears to me that the problem on this team is that you think people are here to serve you. You are not here to be served. As a matter of fact, you were placed on this earth not to be served, but to serve. You're here to humble yourself and care for others. So we're going to get rid of that old way of thinking. We're going to remove that from your mind. That's not what we're here for. And this is not about you. This is about football. This is about team. This is about family. And this is about Auburn. Playing football at Auburn is not a right. It is a privilege. I know what you're thinking, but like it or not, things are going to change. Starting today. If that's a problem for you, there's an exit sign above the door right over there, and you're all welcome to pass under it. I've got no problem with that. But if you want to stay here, you're going to have to serve others, not sit around waiting to be served. If you want to stay here, you're going to have to do things the Auburn way.